Have you ever heard of the Count of Monte Cristo? Or the Three Musketeers? Of course you have. But what if I told you the real-life story that inspired these timeless classics is even more epic, more daring, and more heartbreaking than the fiction you know? Today, we're diving into the incredible life of General Thomas-Alexandre Dumas, the father of the famous author Alexandre Dumas, and the real-life hero behind some of literature's greatest characters. His story doesn't start in the pages of a novel, but on a sugar plantation in the French colony of Saint-Domingue, what we now know as Haiti. Born in 1762, he was the son of a French nobleman and an enslaved African woman. His early life was a paradox. He was born into bondage, but with a noble name. At the age of 14, his father sold him, only to use the money to sail to France and then buy his freedom back. This one act set the stage for a life defined by extraordinary contradictions. Once in Paris, he received the education of a young aristocrat. He was a giant of a man, standing over 6 feet tall, renowned for his incredible strength, charm, and skill with a sword. But the life of a pampered nobleman wasn't for him. He yearned for something more. In a dramatic break from his father, he enlisted in the French army as a common private, under his mother's name, Dumas. He sacrificed his title and his allowance for the chance to prove himself on his own terms. And prove himself he did. This was the era of the French Revolution, a time of chaos and opportunity. The revolutionary ideals of liberté, égalité, fraternité, liberty, equality, fraternity weren't just slogans for Dumas. They were because he was willing to die for. His bravery was legendary. He wasn't a general who commanded from the rear. He was always at the front, leading the charge. Stories of his feats sound like they're pulled straight from a comic book. Once, single-handedly, he held a bridge against an entire squadron of enemy soldiers, earning the nickname the Horatius Cocles of the Tyrol. He could reportedly lift his horse off the ground, grip a ceiling beam, and lift himself using just his thumb, and once captured 13 enemy soldiers all by himself. His rise through the ranks was meteoric. In just over a year, he went from a lowly corporal to a general, the first man of African descent to reach that rank in the French army, or any European army for that matter. He commanded over 50,000 men, a fearsome and respected leader known as the Black Devil by his Austrian enemies. He was a hero of the Republic, a living embodiment of its highest ideals, and that's when he caught the eye of a young, ambitious general named Napoleon Bonaparte. At first, Napoleon admired Dumas's military genius. Dumas joined Napoleon's campaign in Egypt, a crucial and high-profile expedition. But the relationship quickly soured. Dumas was a staunch Republican. He believed in the revolution's promise of equality and freedom. Napoleon, on the other hand, was driven by personal ambition and a hunger for absolute power. Dumas couldn't hide his disapproval of Napoleon's tyrannical tendencies and the brutal tactics used in the campaign. He openly questioned Napoleon, a dangerous thing to do. The final break happened in Egypt. Disgusted and disillusioned, Dumas requested to return to France. This was seen as a personal betrayal by Napoleon, who never forgave what he saw as insubordination. Dumas's journey home turned into a nightmare. His leaky ship was forced to dock in the Kingdom of Naples, an enemy of France. He was captured and thrown into a dungeon, a forgotten prisoner. For 2 long years, he languished in that fortress, his health failing, his spirit tested. It was a brutal, lonely imprisonment, a stark contrast to his glorious past. By the time he was finally released, he was a broken man, partially deaf, partially paralyzed, and his stomach ruined from what he believed was poison. He returned to a France that had changed dramatically. Napoleon was now in power and had just reinstated slavery in the French colonies, rolling back the very rights Dumas had fought and bled for. Because of Napoleon's deep-seated grudge, Dumas was denied his back pay, his pension, and any chance of returning to the military he loved. The great general, the hero of the Republic, was cast aside, left to live in poverty and obscurity. He died just a few years later at the age of 44, his incredible legacy seemingly erased from history, but the story doesn't end there. By his side during those final, difficult years was his young son, a boy named Alexander. This little boy sat at his father's knee, listening with wide eyes to the incredible tales of his adventures of storming fortresses, of dazzling sword fights, of friendship and betrayal, of incredible strength and unwavering principle. When this boy grew up, he became the Alexandre Dumas we all know, the literary giant, and he spent his entire life telling his father's story, weaving it into the fabric of his own masterpieces. The heroic and wrongly imprisoned Edmond Dantes from the Count of Monte Cristo? That's his father, dreaming of justice from a dungeon cell. The noble and powerful Porthos from the Three Musketeers, with his superhuman strength and loyal heart? That's his father, the charismatic hero, the entire spirit of honor, adventure, and fighting against injustice that fills his novels. That is the spirit of General Thomas-Alexandre Dumas. For nearly 200 years, the general's story was largely forgotten, a footnote in the history books, overshadowed by both Napoleon and his own famous son. But it is a story that demands to be told. It's a story about a man who broke every barrier of his time, of race, of class, of expectation. He was the son of an enslaved woman who became a general, a black man who commanded white European armies, a true believer in a revolution that ultimately betrayed him. His life is a powerful reminder that history is filled with unsung heroes whose lives are more incredible than any fiction. So next time you pick up a copy of The Three Musketeers or The Count of Monte Cristo, remember the real-life giant whose epic story is hidden between the lines. The story of General Dumas isn't just the inspiration for great literature. It's one of the greatest real-life adventure stories of all time. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more hidden histories. Let me know in the comments which historical figure we should cover next. Until then, stay curious.